Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're a privacy-conscious power user, you probably spend a good chunk of your time tweaking your browser configs or auditing the software you run. But today, we're going deeper. We are pulling back the curtain on the invisible data exfiltration happening right beneath the surface of your operating system. We're zeroing in exclusively on Chapter 4 of the really eye-opening document, How Windows Identifies You. We're going to break down the network-based tracking vectors that are running completely independently of anything you actually do on the machine.
So let me ask you a question. You boot up your computer, your VPN automatically connects. Do you genuinely believe that VPN is hiding your IP address from Microsoft? A lot of us assume that, right? Like, hey, I haven't opened a browser or clicked on an app yet, so my network identity is perfectly safe inside that encrypted tunnel. Well, as Chapter 4 spells out pretty clearly, that assumption is a total illusion. Let's look at exactly what Windows is whispering to Microsoft servers before your hands even touch the keyboard.
To really get a grip on this, we're going to walk through this chronologically. So, let's jump right into Section 1 before you even log in. We're starting the clock at the exact millisecond your device connects to a network.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's all about the Network Connectivity Status Indicator Sequence, or NCSI for short. Check out this chain of events. Whenever your network state changes, like say you wake your laptop from sleep or hop on a new Wi-Fi network, Windows instantly fires off an HTTP GET request to msftconnecttest.com, along with a DNS query. It does this just to check if the internet is actually working. But here is the fatal flaw for your privacy. These probes fire the absolute second the network changes, which means they happen before your VPN tunnel has time to actually establish itself. So your machine has literally just handed your raw, naked IP address straight to Microsoft. Your VPN? It showed up way too late to the party.
Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'll just dive into the registry and turn that off. And yeah, technically you can. If you go into the NLSVC parameters, you can set the Enable Active Probing key to 0. PreVPN ping disabled. But it comes at a pretty massive cost. Disabling this breaks your network location awareness. Suddenly, Windows might start incorrectly telling you that your internet connection is broken, and that false alarm cascades, breaking a bunch of other apps that rely on that status check to function. So it really puts you in a tight spot. You're basically forced to trade basic operating system functionality just to get a little bit of privacy.
All right, so let's say you accept that, or maybe you just wait it out, and your VPN is finally up and running. You're completely locked down now, right? Well, not exactly. That brings us to Section 2, how Windows bypasses VPNs, because your OS is actually designed to sidestep your privacy tools even after that secure tunnel is totally locked in.
Now, what's really wild about this is that Windows has its own independent DNS resolver. It literally maintains its own separate DNS stack. So for critical system services, we're talking Windows Update, telemetry data, OS activation, and even just syncing your clock with time.windows.com, Windows completely ignores the custom DNS servers you so carefully configured in your VPN. It just routes these queries directly through its own channels. The so what here is pretty huge. It means your ISP can see exactly which Microsoft services you're talking to, completely bypassing your secure setup and letting your device be tracked across different networks.
Moving right along the timeline, let's hit Section 3, Delivery Optimization IP Broadcasts. Let's see what happens behind the scenes when your computer decides it's time to grab an update. Unless you've specifically gone deep into your advanced settings and shut this thing off, Windows uses a feature called Delivery Optimization. By default, it acts like a peer-to-peer network. It takes the update files you've already downloaded and shares them with other PCs out there on the internet, which sounds efficient, right? But to pull that off, it is actively broadcasting your real IP address and transmitting your device's unique identifier, your GDID, straight to Microsoft's infrastructure. It's essentially packaging up your exact network location and your identity with a neat little bow and handing it over, completely blowing up any network anonymity you thought you had going on.
Okay. Up to this point, we've only been talking about stuff happening way down at the bare metal network layer. But let's shift gears to Section 4, the Microsoft Account Trap. Because things change dramatically the second you actually sign into Windows as a user.
To really grasp what's happening here, we need to talk about the MSAPUID, that stands for Passport Unique ID. When you type in your Microsoft account credentials, Microsoft servers instantly generate this persistent 64-bit identifier. It gets slapped right onto your device. And guys, this isn't just a simple local login. This is the exact moment your localized hardware gets permanently shackled to a cloud identity. It ties your physical machine to an email address across literally every single Microsoft service you interact with.
Let's look at how fast this snowballs. The millisecond that account authenticates, it kicks off a massive wave of cross-device tracking. It provisions your global device ID, it instantly starts syncing your OneDrive file habits, your Edge browser history, your Cortana personalization. It even fires up the cross-device cloud clipboard. I mean, think about that. What you copy on your local machine is immediately synced up to the cloud. And maybe the most glaring part, it starts uploading your activity history, feeding Microsoft a continuous log of exactly what apps you're launching and what files you're opening.
I know, a lot of this sounds super abstract, like just a bunch of technical jargon. But let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Chapter 4 highlights a really wild case study from the FBI back in July of 2026 involving the Scattered Spider hacker group.
The crucial point here is how this OS-level tracking basically renders security tools completely useless. The hacker in this case did exactly what you'd expect a hacker to do. He hid behind a VPN. But because he was signed in with a Microsoft account, his device was constantly, silently pinging Microsoft servers in the background to refresh his authentication tokens. And with every single one of those background pings, Windows transmitted his GDID, a timestamp, and whatever IP address he happened to be using at that moment. Microsoft basically built a pristine, time-stamped map of his entire IP history. When the FBI handed them a subpoena, the fact that he used a VPN didn't matter at all. Microsoft was able to hand over a flawless map tracking this guy across 3 entirely different countries.
That case is just a wild, sobering reminder of how powerful this network tracking really is. So, is there a way out? Let's transition to Section 5, the local account difference, and see how this all stacks up against just using a traditional local account.
And this brilliantly illustrates the reality of the choices we have. Looking on the left, sticking to a local account definitely puts a stop to a lot of the bleeding. It blocks the massive cloud sync, keeps your browsing history local, and prevents that specific MSA GDID from being provisioned. But don't look away from the right side of the screen. A local account is not a silver bullet. Windows is still generating an anonymous GDID via the Connected Devices platform. Your machine guide is still sitting there. You're still transmitting required diagnostic data. And all those hard-coded immutable firmware identifiers, they are completely untouched. So yes, a local account kills the cloud syncing, but the core tracking architecture baked into the OS, it is still humming along in the background.
Which brings us to the final thought for today's explainer. We've just walked through how Windows beats your VPN to the punch, how it actively bypasses your custom DNS, broadcasts your IP to peers, and locks you into a subpoena-ready cloud identity the moment you type your password. So I want to leave you with this question. If your operating system is fundamentally engineered to sidestep your privacy tools just to report your location and identity, who is your computer really working for? Take a minute to process that, and maybe double-check your own configurations. Thanks for hanging out with me for this deep dive into Chapter 4. Stay curious and stay focused.